happy Monday. Welcome into the CHGO Blackhawks Podcast. It's Mailbag Monday, which is always fun and easy for us, which we appreciate. I'm Jay Zawaski with Greg Boysen and Mario Tirabassi. We got Law spinning the dials and reading the questions for us because we're all old and can't see the screen very well. Do us a favor, smash that like button for us on the YouTube page. Make sure you're subscribed as well. We had about 20 new subscribers last night during the show, which was awesome. Frank Nazar Mania is upon us, and got a bunch of new subscribers then.
A lot of new fans from the Ann Arbor, Michigan area.
Yeah, definitely. And
your favorite.
Welcome, I guess. Podcast listeners, same deal. Make sure you are subscribed or following us, whatever your favorite app calls for, and leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Now that that's out of the way, let's tear open our bursting sack of mail.
Oh, just getting right into it. Wow, let's do this.
We're going to go with our Discord questions first because diehards get priority, and these are all submitted on our members-only, diehard-only Discord. If you want to join that, allchgo.com is the way you become a diehard.
All right, so here we are into the diehard Discord mailbag questions. We'll start with our friend Charlie the Bacon Guy.
Hey.
Are you going to do a playoff bracket challenge this year?
Yes, we are. It's going to be a diehards only bracket challenge. So that's another perk of being a CHGO diehard.
Yeah.
I'm going to set up the bracket challenge tonight or tomorrow, and I will throw that link into the Blackhawks chat on our Discord page, and you can sign up. It's very important, though. I got to look at it. I'll put some instruction in there, but we're going to need your email. So if you win, we can contact you.
Yes.
So if you're like Chubby Steve 506 on your entry, I'm going to need some info to
my email
you. Sorry. We're going to need some way to get in touch with you. So we'll figure all that out. But yes, we will have a diehards only bracket challenge, prize to be determined, but it'll be cool. We think you'll like it.
I think the easiest way to do that is, do you get to put like a username on the...
Yeah.
Put your Discord name as your username.
Ah, see? Now you're talking.
Yeah, that would help.
Yes.
That would help.
That's a
sure.
great idea. And that way we can reach you directly that way.
Done
Good job,
it.
Greg.
All right.
Problem solved.
Nice. Way to go.
Distant high five.
Taking care of business on the air. Nice job.
We're next to each other. We
sorry.
can do it. There you go.
I was
All
looking
right.
forward.
There it is.
Are we going back to the sack? Let's do this.
Yeah, that was that was a good one.
If they can only all be that simple and
Yeah,
easy.
if only. This one comes from Marvy. Do you see any changes coming to the coaching staff over the summer? Luke's job is safe, but do you see any of the assistants being replaced?
I don't think so.
Doubt it.
No, I don't think so. Unless Luke Richardson has some kind of like best friend that suddenly becomes available, maybe.
Or one of those guys gets a head coaching job somewhere, but I don't see that happening anytime soon.
Yeah, I don't see that happening.
I don't see, hey, this guy's been on the worst team in the league for the last 2 years. Let's put him in charge.
Yeah.
No, I really don't think, unless one of the three coaches just doesn't want to do it anymore, I think there's no reason to switch things up.
Yeah.
I know that might disappoint some of you out there, but...
Well, we know the season is all Derek King's fault.
Yes.
Apparently.
The franchise was doing great until he showed up.
That's right.
Yeah, I think all those guys are sticking around. And that's, I mean, for this team, that's good. Continuity is good. And just like with Luke Richardson, I think we can do a more detailed assessment of the coaches and coaching staff when there is higher expectations for this team.
Yeah.
Right.
Starting next year, hopefully, there'll be a little more expectations.
Yeah,
and one thing to know, too, is that Kyle Davidson has brought in like a bigger scouting staff, a bigger pro development staff than this organization's ever had before.
Yeah.
So if he sees an upgrade outside the organization somewhere, he's not going to be afraid to add it.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a consultant at a time. Like there's ways to do it. But I think in terms of behind the bench, Richardson, Dean, Plant, and King, I think those guys are pretty secure.
Yeah. Definitely.
All right, we're going back to the sack, gentlemen. This one is from Genesis. Says that Scott Powers said they'd like to find a partner for Kevin Korchinski next year. Ethan Del Mastro has been paired with Connor Murphy, so I assume that'd be a pairing for next year with Kaiser sharing the games. Would Brett Pesky, is that Pesky?
Pesci. Like
Joe.
Joe.
Oh,
Yo.
What am I, clown? Would Pesci make sense? Right-handed defenseman, started as a more offensive D-man that's morphed into a good defender.
Sure.
Yeah.
So
a guy like that
yeah.
makes sense. Yes, not going to break the bank, but can come in and provide some stability.
Yeah, that if look, if Brett Pesce comes to the Blackhawks, that's great. I don't know if that'll happen, but that would be great. Yeah, and I think let's not put so many eggs in the basket that Connor Murphy and Ethan Del Mastro played 2 games together during Ethan Del Mastro's like attaboy call up to the Blackhawks. Like, there's definitely some lineup fluctuation probably going to go on this offseason and into training camp and see what works. I mean, there's a chance that Murphy and Korchinski are paired back together to begin next season. I think your top 4 defensemen are solidified, and that third pair, there could be a free agent available, or it could be 2 young guys. There's a lot to be determined, but yeah, I think it would be nice to have a pairing to move forward that you can say, yep, that's solidified. Like, you have Vlasic and Jones. I don't think anyone's questioning that's your top pair next year. With Korchinski, I think all signs still point to it being Connor Murphy, but that is, that could change with whatever they do in the offseason with, it could change. But I think that is still likely going to be the pair going into the offseason.
Yeah, and as we've seen, I think the days of depending on Connor Murphy for 80 to 82 games are in the rearview mirror. So they probably do want to bring in another guy, not necessarily just to be Kevin Korchinski's, riding partner, but to have that insurance for if and when Connor Murphy misses 30 games again, you still have that other defenseman there that's not Jacob Megna off the scrap heap, or, Jared Tenorti, who would not be on any other NHL roster in the league right now. You need something you need an upgrade on your veteran defenseman. So Pesce's not a bad idea. He would be a good fit. He turns 30 next November. His current contract that's expiring, his cap hit, is just over $4 million. So obviously I think he's going to want more money.
Sounds a lot like Connor Murphy.
Yeah, and I don't know. Does he want to come to a rebuilding team on a short-term deal? He's not 30 yet. If the Hurricanes have a disappointing playoff run, he may want to be like, no, I've come close. I want to go to a team that win now.
Yeah.
And that's not the Blackhawks. So, sure, the Blackhawks could give him another $1 million or $2 million than anybody else because of their cap situation, but he may want to go, no, I'd rather go sign with the Rangers or the Avalanche or whoever, the Stars, to replace Chris Tanev when he becomes a Blackhawk.
Yeah, exactly.
So we'll see. It's definitely a guy that I would target. I just don't know if he's a guy that wants to come here because, you got to have a desire from each side of it. It's like we can name all the names we want.
Go get everybody.
Oh, they'd all be great fits, especially on a team that has 1 million holes like the Blackhawks.
Yeah.
All those guys would fit great here. How many of them actually want to be here?
Right.
That's
and
the key.
For Pesce, who's 29, this is probably going to be his last chance at a bigger contract.
Yeah, and if he has a big playoff, you can forget about it.
Yeah, right. And he's going to want more than I think the Hawks are probably going to want to go just a couple years with whoever they sign.
Yeah,
he's probably going to be looking for at least 4 years, and maybe 5 with this deal.
That's why Tanev kind of sounds like it would potentially work if he was interested, because you could say 2 years.
He's 34. This will be his probably his last contract. Right. Give him 2 years. Give him $1.5 million more than anyone else is going to give him, and say, come be a D partner for Kevin Korchinski.
Do exactly what you did with Nick Foligno.
Yeah, exactly.
Say, here, we're going to pay you more to be here and be a mentor.
Yeah.
All right. Next up, you guys are talking a lot about needs in the offseason. Well, AJ Brune says, obviously, there's a long way to go in the rebuild, but what would you consider the biggest singular need the Hawks have for next season?
Somebody who shoots the damn puck.
And
preferably puts it in the net every once in a while. They need a goal scorer.
Now you're asking
they
too
need
much.
another goal scorer, a shooter, a sniper, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, somebody who has the mentality of when the puck is on my stick, I'm looking to, first of all, put it on net. I think that is desperately needed by this team. Because they have a lot of guys that like to try and create. And look, like Connor Bedard, like undoubtedly has the best shot on the team. I think he is not necessarily in a position right now to be like, oh, I'm just going to shoot every puck I get, even though that would probably be a way to have success on this team. I think he likes to be able to not only score goals, but set up his teammates to do it. So they need someone else who can play off of him, off of, Bedard as the top option to be, like a Patrick Sharp, like a guy who is a shoot first option.
Hopefully that's Taylor Hall.
Yeah, that's true. Like Taylor Hall could be that guy. I think that would be wonderful if that is that missing piece, because then he's already here. I know a lot of people. Michael Evans says get Cole Yzerman. It's just like, yeah, that's great, but Cole Yzerman isn't going to be here for another year or two,
right? Yeah,
or 3.
The guy you signed this offseason is the bridge to Cole Yzerman. Like,
sure.
Yeah, you're not going to draft Cole Yzerman, and he's not going to be in your lineup night one. It's just not going to happen.
There's probably one guy in this draft that's going to go pro right away, and that's Macklin Celebrini.
Most likely.
And that is not even
that's if he decides to do that.
Yeah, that's not a slam dunk either. Yeah, you definitely need you need a guy that has a shoot first mentality. Bedard still, that's the problem. It's not a problem, but that's the issue with Bedard having such a great shot, but also he's your best shooter and your best playmaker all wrapped up in the one. He's Austin Matthews and Patrick Kane in the same player, but he doesn't have that Austin Matthews mentality yet to just shoot the puck as soon as I get it.
Yeah.
He still wants to facilitate. He still wants to set up guys. So get him a guy that only wants to shoot the puck.
Or you get him a guy that's going to set him up, right? Like, because
sure,
the expectation for Bedard is goal scorer, right? Like, yeah, he can pass. I think he does that a little bit. Like, I can't do everything on my own. I can't be selfish. I can't just shoot all the time. But what if you brought him in, say, a Teuvo Teravainen, who is as much a playmaker as he is a goal scorer, and he can help take some pressure off of Bedard, get him the puck while he's more open than he's probably been all year, and help that way. So it can go either way. Looking at the free agent list, Stamkos, that's the dream. Sam Reinhart, that's the kind of contract that I believe gets a GM fired. Someone's going to pay him way too much money.
It could.
Jake Gensel, again, he's in that 29-year-old boat.
He's going to go get
money. He's going to get paid. Adam
Especially the way
Henrique
he's playing right now
is 35.
He's not
Anthony
that guy.
Mantha, no. Tyler Bertuzzi,
No thanks.
Jason Zucker's 32. Not a huge scorer, though. Like, now you're getting into kind of...
I mean, Jonathan Marchessault is a nice...
I like that one a lot. I mean, that makes a lot of sense.
He's a guy that's won a cup. He's got he won the Conn Smythe last year, right?
He sure did.
I mean, he's a guy that, but a lot of people are going to be knocking on his door July 1st. But yeah, Jonathan Marchessault on the Blackhawks, skating with Connor Bedard. I'll take it. But again, I don't know if he wants to come here.
Well, the other thing, too, and we've seen Kyle Davidson do this a lot, is if he doesn't think there's going to be an answer for him in free agency, he'll go trade some picks or trade whatever he needs to do to go get a piece. He did it with Foligno. He did it with Taylor Hall. He traded for Corey Perry's rights. Like, he is aggressive in going out and getting the things he needs.
Rights were in that trade. Like, he was a Penguin UFA in the Elizabethtown, Kentucky trade.
Yeah,
the great Elizabethtown, Kentucky trade of 2023.
Could forget.
I would like to see him, though. This is the one thing not the one thing, but one of the things I need to see Davis improve is, can you convince a free agent to sign here? Just without going and trading for the rights and then convincing him in the window you have between trade and negotiate and July 1st, can you on July 1st go sign a key free agent?
Yeah,
we'll find out.
It's probably going to be tough to judge that for another year or two.
Right. I mean, with Bedard and Nazar and some of these young players, it's and the city of Chicago, it's a very attractive.
And you've got Foligno selling it a little bit too, which is helpful.
And if a new vehicle is your biggest off-season need, you need to check out our friends, our pals at Ray Chevy and drive home a winner this April visiting Ray Chevrolet. They're sharing their best offers of the year. Make your way to Ray Chevrolet on Route 12 in Fox Lake to join in on the savings. As one of the top-selling Chevy dealers in the Midwest, you'll always be able to shop one of Chicagoland's largest Chevy inventories. Plus, you'll find that perfect tailgate vehicle. For a limited time, they're offering 0% financing for 72 months on all new Silverados, and they have over 100 in stock. And to top it all off, they're pricing over 125 vehicles under $20,000. Seriously, guys, can pricing get more affordable?
I don't think
and
so.
what's more affordable than free? Well,
Nothing.
that's what you're going to get at Ray Chevrolet, a free oil change just by mentioning your favorite sports podcast, CHGO, a free oil change at Ray Chevrolet in Fox Lake. All you need to do is mention CHGO when scheduling your oil change. Start off the spring right and schedule it by April 30th. Visit Ray Chevrolet in Fox Lake or raychevrolet.com. They've been serving the community since 1963. Find new roads?
Yes.
Roads.
New roads.
Who put the question mark on the teleprompter?
Cody, Dusty, so many roads
new
to
roads.
find. And hey, you've heard us talking about Prize Picks all season long. We love it. It is our favorite, and it is the largest daily fantasy sports platform in North America. They are the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. It's just you against the numbers. Get in on the playoff action and win up to 100 times your money on Prize Picks, and you and the world's best players take the game to a new level during basketball's postseason. The playoffs begin April 20th. The play-in round, April 16th, 17th, and 19th. You can go
Bulls.
win up to 100 times your money on Prize Picks. With as little as 4 correct picks, you can turn $10 into 1,000 with basketball, hockey, and college hoops. Well, not those anymore. On Prize Picks, America's #1 fantasy sports app. Go to prizepicks.com/CHGO and use code CHGO for a first deposit match up to $100. That's prizepicks.com/CHGO and use code CHGO. Pick more, pick less. It's that easy. Quick question here from Michael Evans. It says, did the Hawks announce when their end-of-season press conferences and when Kyle Davidson speaks and all the players are available? That will be Saturday, and we are going to have a show Saturday at 2:30. We're going to be off Friday. We're going to be there Saturday to cover that. So you'll hear from Kyle Davidson. You'll hear from many of the players. You'll hear from Luke Richardson. Saturday is going to be a busy day, so don't miss it.
Yep. Our show consists of us just sitting here and playing videos for
Yes.
hours.
Sounds fun.
Second favorite show behind a mailbag.
That's right.
Well, let's get back to the sack. This is from Brad Beatty, again, from our diehard members only Discord. Not a question, but more of a statement. The Kyle Davidson is Stan Jr. crowd was awfully quiet last night when Nazar potted one on his first shot.
Yeah, it seemed that way.
Sure. Yeah.
Seemed that
I
way.
mean, if you're paying attention, which I hope more Blackhawks fans start doing as this team starts getting more exciting to watch and the young players start establishing themselves and their presence more. Kyle Davidson is sticking to his plan and his rebuild blueprint, and so far seems like things are right on track. And to think that he was just going to be some sort of retread lackey of the old regime, like, I don't know what you were basing that off of, other than the fact that he was the assistant GM. It doesn't mean that they're the exact same person. A lot of times, subordinates of high-level, high-ranking, front office people don't always see eye to eye.
Right.
And I think it's very clear that was the case between he who shall not be named and Kyle Davidson on a number of things, including the direction the organization needed to go years ago.
Yeah.
So now we're seeing what Davidson had in mind, and so far, so good.
Yeah, how often are you lockstep with your boss?
Yeah.
A lot of people say, I worked for this person for 15 years.
His door's open.
And now that I'm replacing him, here's what I'm going to do differently. Because things need to be different.
Well, I mean, Davidson had a 5-year firsthand look of what not to do to a team.
Yeah.
And he probably went, okay, I'm going to do the exact opposite of that, and I'm going to invest in prospects. I'm going to be patient with development. Mm-hmm. And the fact that he tore it all down. He traded Patrick Kane. He traded Alex DeBrincat. He traded Kirby Dach. Anybody who still thinks he's a he who shall not be named clone after that is just screaming into the ether pure stupidity.
I feel like there is a certain faction of the fan base that just wants to be upset.
Yes.
And they just want to be mad about something, and they don't really know where to direct it. It's like,
because it's not the people who are here when they won the most recent cups. So that's the problem for that that group of fans. Which
I will say though, in my experience, though, it's some of the people I've heard from have been fans long before the dynasty, and it's almost like they need. It's so ingrained in them to be angry about the Blackhawks all the time because Bill Wirtz and Bob Pulford and yada yada. Like, it's just ingrained that anger has to be part of it. It doesn't. Kyle Davidson has said from the day he took over officially, this is what I'm going to do. Mm-hmm. It's going to take a few years. We're asking you for patience. We're asking you for understanding. We're going to be fully transparent with everything we do on the hockey side of things. And they have followed the plan to a T. And if anything, you could say maybe Del Mastro and Nazar and Slaggert played a little sooner than we thought they would, right? If he was talking about being totally patient, waiting till everybody's fully ready, maybe he hasn't done that. But what that means is these prospects that are in the organization are developing quickly, which would give you some indication that A, they were drafted correctly, B, your organizational development coaches like Kendall Coyne and on have done a good job coaching these players on what to apply to their junior game, to their college game, to whatever. They're all with good programs, so they're learning there. Like, I don't know how you look at this and say, I am unsatisfied with how this is going, aside from the night-to-night results of year truly one of the rebuild.
Yeah. And to your point, to tack on, Kyle Davidson has preached patience, but he has also said many times that development is not linear. It's not the same for everybody. One guy might need 2 to 3 years in Rockford. One guy might need 10 games in Rockford and be ready to go. Some might not need any.
Right.
Like, so he's basically relying on his staff put in place to tell him when these guys are ready, and he's trusting them.
Yep.
And they go with it. It is a organization acting like an organization. Development coaches and scouts working together, talking to the front office. It's not just one guy sitting behind a giant desk going, this is how we're going to do it.
Yeah.
It's an actual organization now, and it's a good thing. And people want to be negative because a lot of times, more times than not, these types of teardowns and rebuilds don't always end up with championships.
Yeah.
So the odds are in their
might not.
Their odds are in their favor, most likely, that they're eventually going to be able to scream from the mountaintops that they were right all along, and that's going to make them feel better in front of the 19 strangers who follow them on social media. And if that's what your life goal is, have fun.
There's
with
no
that.
better or lazier or easier opinion to have than cynicism. It is so easy to be negative. It is so easy to say, this is going to suck forever. Everybody sucks. Everybody's stupid but me.
Well, we've had so many people come up to us and tell us, like, oh, thanks for staying positive. Like, well, we're just being honest.
Right.
And there's a lot more positive things going on in this organization than negative things. And we'll focus on those as opposed to the negative things until something needs to be brought up.
Yeah.
All right. Rooney.
Rooney. All right. This is, again, yes, from Rooney, from the Discord. How different is this year's lottery in terms of vibe? I feel like a year ago I was on edge. Ask me again the night of, but I feel like whatever happens, happens. They're going to get someone awesome in the top 4.
After getting Connor Bedard last year with number 1, the rest of these draft lotteries, hopefully only one or two more where we have a chance at number 1, don't really matter because they got their ultimate prize. Yes, getting number 1 this year would be fantastic. If it doesn't happen, am I going to be angry at all? Not in the least. Number 2 is going to be great. Number 3 is going to be great. God forbid they fall to number 4. They're still going to get a really good player to add to Connor Bedard and Frank Nazar and Oliver Moore and all these guys. It's just adding to that pool. There will be no draft day lotto. There will be no anxiety, at least from this chair, that day. I'll be like, I don't know.
That's what you said last year.
Well, you were just like the most anxious thing I've ever sat next to that day. And it rubbed off on me. So
what's funny, too, is like if you look back 2 or 3 months, we're talking about the draft, we say, Celebrini's at the top. That's still the case. But you're talking about Yzerman and Lidstrom, and now like Demidov has jumped up and Levshunov has jumped up. And I don't know, how do you say Zeev's last name?
Buyam.
Yeah, like he's climbing the ranks. So at 3 or 4, if you get 4, you're probably going to have Yzerman or Lidstrom still there. And if we told you that 2 months ago, everybody would be thrilled about it. Like,
Right.
Yeah.
I think, Greg, you're right. The fact that they got Bedard last year has taken a lot of the stress off of this one.
Absolutely.
But I also think, too, like, Celebrini's going to be very good, but I don't think he's going to be a Bedard level good. So it's not like the huge gap between one and everybody else that you have this year.
Yeah, I don't think the gap is as wide, but I think Celebrini is close to that level of prospect with Bedard. I don't think he's lockstep with him, but I think he's higher than I think a lot of people are giving him credit for.
And putting him on a team that already has a Connor Bedard.
That would, that'd be
get him
wonderful.
there.
I mean, if the Blackhawks were to win it twice in a row, I mean, you're talking about a revamp of Taze and Kane, and now then you're adding all the other younger pieces to that. Like, that'd be wonderful. I'll put this note out there on the CHGO Blackhawks account last night. With their loss last night, they are locked into the second best odds at winning the draft lottery, and those odds are as follows from our friends over at Tankathon. 13.5% chance at winning the draft, 14.1% chance at staying at second, a 30.7% chance at landing third, and a 41.7% chance at falling to fourth. But, as we've all just kind of said, anywhere 1 to 4, you're getting someone who's going to be very, very good.
Yeah.
And getting Bedard last year takes a lot of that stress and anxiety away. If they had stayed at number 3 last year and got Fantilli, that'd be great. But we'd still kind of be hanging on to the, like, we kind of need Celebrini still, and now it's just like Celebrini would be just like gravy on top of the poutine. Like, if we anything within that 1 through 4, you're going to get a very good player. And forward, center, defenseman, whatever it needs to be, the Blackhawks are in a position where take the best guy that you have on your board at whatever draft position you're at, and you're going to be fine.
The biggest reason I want the Hawks to win the draft lottery this year is just for the reaction of the rest of the hockey world.
More tears?
More
Gosh.
tears.
I'm just glad it's rigged.
I'm almost out of.
Exciting.
Yeah, I know. Being the benefactors of a rigged NHL draft.
Can they rig it 2 years in a row, though? Is that too obvious?
Yeah, no, not at all.
Go for it. Let's
That's
see what happens.
That's what really makes it genius.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, there's no way we could do it 2 years in a row. Nudge, nudge.
If the NHL really wants to be villainous, they will follow up.
Coyotes get number
They will
one this
follow
year.
up rigging the draft for the Blackhawks get Bedard with Utah
get
winning
number
the
one.
draft lottery this year. Which
I'm
would
all
be,
for that too.
I would feel so bad.
I wouldn't.
I'd feel so bad for our PHNX group if that were to be
There'll
the
be a new
case.
jobs by then.
Well, we'll see. But yeah. Anyways, hopefully the NHL isn't as villainous as that.
I would feel bad for them after I stopped laughing 17 minutes later. Because that would be it. Because that's what we've heard. We've heard from them, and we've heard from the Red Wings how they never win the draft lottery, and then the Utah would get it on shot 1.
Yeah. Red Wings will be picking 16th. 15th.
Hate to see it. But that Iser plan, stick with it.
All right, we're going to hold off on the mailbag. We got a super chat from Nick, $5. Thank you,
Hello,
Nick. Doesn't Yzerman have a poor skating technique? I've heard he doesn't use crossovers, but instead like a quote-unquote box skating style. Would that be no for Hawks?
I mean, technique can be taught.
Yeah, that could be coached out.
Yeah, you're skating when you get into these draft prospects and you hear like, oh, they have a bad stride or something like that. Like that can be coached out of guys. But I will say, from what we've seen over the last 2 drafts from Kyle Davidson, he's not really in the game of we're going to draft someone who needs work when it comes to skating. I think Davidson and the Blackhawks staff, they would rather have a player who they say, you know what, we love their skating stride, we love their speed. The other things we can work on as they develop, a la guys like Paul Ludwinski, Oliver Moore, Frank Nazar as well. Like these fast skaters that also have some skill to them. I don't think they're necessarily keen on going the route of like, this guy's really skilled with the puck on his stick, but his skating needs work. Like, doesn't seem like the kind of guy that they're necessarily going to go after. But I will say, Yzerman's shooting ability, like if he falls all the way till that second first-round pick and wherever Tampa ends up being, I don't think it will. But if he does, sure. Take him.
All he's got to do is skate to get that soft spot in the left circle and fire home those one-timers a la Alex DeBrincat. Because when we had Sean Shapiro of Elite Prospects here a couple weeks ago, he sat here and described the type of player Cole Eiserman is, and I swore to God he was talking about Alex DeBrincat.
Yeah.
And having that type of guy to the left of Connor Bedard for years to come, where just stand at the dot and fire home that Alex Ovechkin one-timer.
Sure.
I mean, Alex DeBrincat's getting paid a lot of money by the Detroit Red Wings for just doing that. I wouldn't call him the world's greatest skater.
No.
If you have a team full of really great skaters, you can afford to have one or two guys that...
If they're elite at something else, yeah.
And he has an elite shot. I mean, if you're going to be a one-trick pony in the NHL, goal scoring is the best one trick you could possibly have.
That is true. Yep. And if you want to see all of these future Blackhawks that we're talking about in the near future, get your tickets through GameTime. They are the best place to go when you're looking to get tickets to all of the events that you want to go to. And you should not have to worry when you're buying those tickets. GameTime is fast and easy, and they help you find all of those events, whether it's sports, music, comedy, or theater events nearest to you. They will get you the best tickets available with killer last-minute deals, all in prices. You got the views from your seat and GameTime's best price guarantee. They take the guesswork out of buying tickets. I love the views from your seat. If you ever go into a venue that you've never been to before, especially if it's for a special event like a concert at Wrigley or at the United Center or anything like that, you want to see what the show is going to look like from your seat with GameTime. You can preview what that view is going to be and know that you can say, hey, I love this view or I hate this view. I'm going to go find another ticket. GameTime allows you to do that. So download the GameTime app, create an account, use the code CHGO. When you do that, you're going to get $20 off of your first purchase. Terms do apply. Again, create an account and redeem the code CHGO for $20 off. Download GameTime today. Last-minute tickets, lowest prices guaranteed.
And tonight's one of those nights where you're probably going to fire up the grill, get some hot dogs, some burgers going, maybe some other things. And you're going to be like, damn, I forgot to stop at the store and pick up Coors Light. Well, guess what? You can have it delivered right to you, right there on your patio. Go to CoorsLight.com/CHGO Hockey and have Coors Light delivered straight to your door or patio or grilling area. Just give the delivery guy a hot dog or a burger. Call it even. CoorsLight.com/CHGO Hockey. Coors Light, as you know by now, is the perfect beer to chill, and this is going to be a night for chilling, grilling, and everything that makes summer great. When the mountains turn blue, your Coors Light is as cold as the Rockies. It's cold lagered, cold filtered, and cold packaged for a smoother finish. When it's time to chill and grill, open up a nice cold Coors Light. It's mountain cold refreshment, crisp and refreshing as the Colorado Rockies. When it's time to chill, Coors Light is the beer we reach for. Get Coors Light delivered straight to your door, again, with Instacart by going to CoorsLight.com/CHGO Hockey. Celebrate responsibly. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. By the way, thanks to Region Rev for reminding us the CHGO Sky Show will be live tonight at 6 for their live draft show.
I'll be doing it.
That's fun.
Yeah, we're going to have a little fun. You know, we get to watch.
Are they getting Caitlin Clark?
I wish.
No, they have, what, the third overall pick?
Third and seventh. They just traded up for the seventh. They moved from 8 to 7. I think there's talk that they want Angel Reese, the girl from LSU.
That'd be cool.
We shall see.
Ooh, that'd be fun.
They should have tanked harder for Caitlin Clark.
I know.
Trade 7 and 3 for 1. Cowards.
I was hoping that would happen. Indiana would not do that.
The Indiana Fever would. Then they sold like a ton of season tickets.
Yes.
Yeah.
The second.
And they've been like tweeting about her.
I feel like all the people last year that were like, the Blackhawks should trade back from Bedard. Like, no.
Shut up.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
Chris and Steven got that show tonight, 6 to 8 o'clock.
Nice. Yeah, she was on. Caitlin Clark was on SNL this weekend too. Pretty funny.
Good. She,
just going after
she buried
Michael Che.
That was fun.
It was a good episode of SNL.
It was a great episode of SNL.
It was funny.
All right, back to the Discord. More diehards have questions for you in the mailbag. This is from Arnithus. With Oliver Moore looking just as speedy and good, do you feel we need more offensive or defensive support in the pipeline?
Yes. Just stockpile them both.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're still, like I said, they're still in a position where best player available on your board. There's nothing wrong with that. I will say, though, when I look at the defensive pool moving forward, Sam Renzel is obviously at the top of it as far as like youngest guys with the highest ceiling. But beyond that, I mean, you got Del Mastro and Allen and Kaiser still in Rockford progressing. But beyond that, I mean, Crevier and Phillips, I don't know. It doesn't seem like the organization is as high on them as maybe we thought they might have been going into this season. So maybe it just depends on how the draft lottery plays out. But maybe that first pick of the first round, if it's not number one, might end up being a defenseman.
Yeah, you've got a young crop of defensive prospects, but eventually those guys are all going to be NHL players, and you need somebody to follow them.
Yeah, the whole plan of this is to continue reloading.
That's why Tampa's been so good for so long.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because when, oh no, we can't afford this guy. Well, we have, a 5-year younger version of him waiting in Syracuse. Call him on up.
Yeah.
Boom. And you just keep going. So you're going to have to eventually get some more defensive prospects when all your current defensive prospects are hopefully
Playing.
NHLers or have been traded to acquire other things. But I still think at least you've got so many picks these next 2 years. You're going to draft a handful of defensemen. You get the best player on the board at the time you pick is pretty good strategy to have. And then maybe next year's draft you focus on more needs.
Yeah.
As you see how this year progresses. But, I mean, how many total picks do they have this year?
They have 2 firsts, 3 seconds, 2 thirds.
I got it right here.
No fourth, 2 fifths, or
Nope.
a fifth and a sixth?
2 firsts, 3 seconds, 2 thirds, no fourth, 1 fifth, and a sixth.
So that's
Yeah.
9 picks on
9
my
picks.
quick math.
And 7 in the first 3 rounds.
Right.
Yeah.
7
Yep.
in the first 3 rounds. Take 4 forwards and 3 defensemen. I'll be okay with that. And
Wonderful.
you could throw a goalie in one of those late picks.
Sure.
I'm
I'm
like
for that.
I'm of the mindset draft a goalie every year.
You could do that.
Why not?
Just like in football, you should draft a quarterback every year.
You could. Bears.
All right, gentlemen, we
Bears.
are going back
They should
to the
draft
sack,
you this year.
and we got a double dip here. These are both sort of on the same line of questioning here. So this is first from Genesis.
Again?
Yeah, second one from Genesis. Chances of Davidson using Tampa Bay's first this year or Toronto's first next year to acquire a decent roster player, maybe an RFA like Nekas or a goalie like UPL, who are both rumored to be on their way out of their respective teams. And then Windy City Hockey says, with the Blackhawks having 2 firsts, 3 seconds, and 2 thirds this year, do we see the Blackhawks start packaging some of those picks to move up in the first round this year, since this draft isn't as deep as the draft as last year was?
They tried to do that last year.
Yeah.
To
Yep.
get Oliver Moore. Anything's possible. I know that's a generic answer, but that's part of the joy of having all those extra picks is if you have a guy that's targeted and the next team up is looking to acquire more picks, you go make a move.
Well, and didn't they traded one of their seconds last year to move up, didn't they? Didn't they
I believe so.
Didn't they package 2 of their seconds to move up in the second or something like that?
That sounds right.
It was something like
Maybe
that.
it was a third.
I'll have to go back and look at it, but I mean,
That's when all the
David,
children were arriving when I was in the
Davidson,
basement.
yeah, Davidson's not afraid to be aggressive.
Right. As far as I don't think Mark Nietzsche is going anywhere in Carolina. I don't see that happening. And I've seen UPL's name come up a few times for goaltending. I don't think Buffalo's ready to. I know they have Levi coming up, but
Yeah.
UPL's been their guy, and if they would have anointed him the starter from night 1, they might be in the playoffs right now. Instead, they so I don't think they're moving on from him anytime soon, and that's not necessarily. I like him a lot, but I think the Hawks are satisfied in Mrazek for the next 2 years, and then seeing how Drew Comezzo progresses. Maybe year 2 of Mrazek, he becomes the 1B to Comezzo's 1A.
Yeah.
And you got Guyan 3 to 4 years away after that. So we'll see. But, after watching Natchez last night, oh boy.
Yep.
I'd love
Good
to
player.
see him in a Blackhawks uniform. He was a beast last night. He's big and fast. I remember watching him in the 2019 Calder Cup Finals against the Wolves, covering that series, and was like, this kid is going to be a beast. He's an RFA. He's not going anywhere. And if you did want to get those rights from the Carolina Hurricanes, it's going to cost a lot more than just both of those Tampa and Toronto draft picks.
I would think so, yeah. But Carolina is just so full of good players, top to bottom. Not household names everywhere, but like, damn.
And their salary cap situation is like really good.
Well, that's instead of going for the home run massive free agent,
They keep their own guys.
they keep their guys. They have depth, and they keep refreshing. That's the plan. And like, I know we all talk about, you got to go get Leon Draisaitl, you got to go get whoever else, top tier free agent. Not necessarily. You've already got that superstar player here. He's already here. And if Nazar turns into what you think he might, and Oliver Moore turns into what you think he might, and all of a sudden you're like, damn, got a lot of depth here. Depth is what wins.
Yep.
And yeah, you need those superstar players too, but you can't ask the Edmonton Oilers. They've got super, super high-end players at the top, but they haven't been able to put together because they lack elsewhere. They're not deep enough. Maybe this year's a difference. We'll
That
see.
might
But
change this year with
Yeah.
Pudwack, Corey Perry, and I really like their acquisition of Adam Henrique too. Those are two guys who've been there, done that. See if that pays off.
Yep.
like their best player, Carolina, Sebastian Aho, makes 8.46.
Yeah.
And then his deal next season kicks in. His extension, 9.75.
It's not going to kill you.
If that's your highest paid player, you're in good shape cap-wise.
Especially as the cap goes up.
Right.
Yeah.
We're supposed to, at least.
All right, gentlemen, this is the last one from the Discord, and it's from AJ, and he asks, what's your favorite memory of the Arizona Coyotes?
Raffi Torres is getting his ass kicked.
Jamal Mayer is beating his ass.
Yeah. I mean, not to say that I've had a ton of favorite Coyotes moments in the history of the franchise. But I will say that, I mean, as much as it sucked that it came at the expense of the Blackhawks, in retrospect, seeing their run in 2012, now knowing how this organization has been run and everything, like, that run is something that I think a lot of Carolina fans, or not Carolina, sorry, Phoenix fans, Coyotes fans, hold special to them. So it's tough to see the organization leaving, and having the connection that we do to them now through the ALLCITY network. It's tough to see this play out. So I'll say that run for them, I'm sure, was real special.
So,
Yeah.
Yeah. They've only been into the playoffs one other time since then. And that was the weird bubble COVID year.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's not a lot of great memories from that organization. I mean, my memories of them are going to be like they were where some really great players went towards the ends of their careers. Or seeing former Blackhawks play there, like, Jeremy Roenick. Tony Amonte was there at the end. Keith Tkachuk. Do you guys remember after the 03 lockout, Brett Hull played like 4 games for the Coyotes?
I remember that, yeah.
And then he was like, I don't want to do the same more. I'm going home. Some of those whiteout games that they had early on were fun. I know there's some Coyotes fans are getting mad at Winnipeg fans, but actually the whiteout started in Winnipeg.
Yeah, it started there. What are you mad about?
Like I just seeing somebody online going, you can't steal Arizona Coyote playoff traditions. Just seems so weird. Like, wait, what playoff traditions? Don't you have to make the playoffs? They have playoff traditions, but
It's true.
and it's gonna suck not seeing those beautiful jerseys that
the
they finally
Kachina
brought.
logo.
Yeah, they're awesome.
But, I mean, we'll see.
that's a damn
They may be
shame.
back in a few years, hopefully with a different ownership. This clown that they got right now should just apply for permanent residency in Pudwakistan and never be allowed anywhere near the NHL again. F that guy.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. The more you read, I know Katie Strang kind of republished her story from a couple of years ago about how crappy things were in the organization. It's a good refresher about why things are the way they are in Arizona.
Yep.
Starts at the
My
top.
favorite memory is meeting Petey and Craig and Leah. Yay.
Oh, that's
There
nice.
you go. My favorite memory is sneaking in the PD shower during the draft after he left.
Yeah.
Because he had the only working shower.
While he was washing his back.
Thanks for the shower, Petey.
Hi, Petey. Ah!
I remember going to a game at the America West Arena back in the day.
Okay.
They had that cool the howl, that whenever they scored.
During the Hobby Boolin era?
It might have been. I mean, the Boolin wall was rocking back in those days. But yeah, okay. All right, we're out of the Discord now, into Twitter land, and here's the reason our show is titled as
Terrible
such.
music part Twitterland.
This is from Damaged Lightning, a.k.a. Matt DeMichael.
Leave Tanner Gino out of this.
Would you guys guess that Connor Bedard will get the captaincy at the beginning of next season? I have this beautiful vision of Taves putting the pads on one last time and skating a 98
God,
that would
with
be
the C to Connor before the home opener,
no
passing the torch.
Chance.
No, he wouldn't do it
chance
just to
that that
do it,
would
not
happen.
to play. I don't think he means playing. Just
No,
showing up.
No, he would not do
at
it either.
all.
No?
I don't think there's going to be any grandiose scene of
Johnny
the torch.
isn't as warm and fuzzy as
tasting.
people think he
No,
is.
no.
I
He's-
agree. Yeah,
Not at all.
that would be cool to say, but
Sure, the visual would be awesome, but no, I don't see that happening at all. I've all year I have been pretty confident that Bedard is captain starting next season. All the writings on the wall there. I will say though, as the years progressed, and as we've seen Nick Foligno take up a real role as a leader in the locker room, I wonder if they slow play Bedard being captain, and maybe next year do something where it's Dickinson, Murphy, Jones, Foligno, and Bedard all rotating letters, and just have it be like Jones and Bedard are always wearing an A, and then Foligno, Dickinson, Murphy, they can rotate it however they want, something like that. Maybe they do that, and then the next season after, Connor is mature enough, he's got enough games under his belt where he can actually feel like, maybe he does have that voice in the locker room, that presence in the locker room to be like an actual leader of the team, not just necessarily he's the best player, so he's the captain. I wonder if that might be a route that they entertain. I'm also not closing the door on the fact that maybe he is captain next year.
Yeah, sure. It's just the NHL is not always the best player as a captain. It doesn't work that way, and I know he's been the captain on most every team he's played on, but it's because he was so far and above better than everybody else he played with. It was almost by default. I think I'm kind of with you, Mario, where I thought it was like, oh, yeah, foregone conclusion, first day of next season. I don't know. Maybe you give it to Foligno for the rest of his contract. Maybe there's someone else. I don't know. I'm not saying no, but I'm not as bullish on it as I was before. And it's nothing against what Connor's done. There's nothing that makes me think he's not captain material. But it just, there's a reason that Jonathan Taves was given the captaincy at age 20. He came in as that dude.
Yeah.
That was part of the intangible that made
was
him
his
such
personality.
a, Yes, of course. Like, that was why. And look, we know Connor Bedard is the hardest worker on the team. He has always put in extra time. It is hockey 24/7, but it's a different kind of a thing. And I do think the Hawks would consider, do we want to take away Jonathan Taves was named the team captain at age 20 and 79 days. So that's the youngest in team history. I don't know if they are in a rush to take that away from him. Jonathan Taves should and will go down as this franchise's best, most beloved, most decorated captain. And I think that those sort of things, like, maybe they shouldn't matter, but I think they do a little bit. I think they're very sensitive to, hey, if we name Bedard captain next year, that title that Jonathan Taves had is already gone. He was youngest captain in the league.
20 years and how many days?
20 years and 79 days.
All right, because Bedard turns
July.
Bedard's birthday is in July, so I think he would probably be a little bit older than Taves.
He'll only be 19.
No, I'm saying if they did it
the following year?
not next year, but the year after.
He'd still be a little younger.
Be close.
He'd still be a little younger. Because 79 days from the start of October is April-ish.
I was told there'd be no math.
Yeah, I don't know.
So
it'd be close. But yeah, if they made Bedard the captain next season, he would be 19, freshly 19.
Right. I think,
which might flirt with the youngest captain like in modern NHL history.
I think while having a team captain is important, I also think it's super overrated. Like Nick Foligno didn't need a C on his sweater to be the captain of this team.
Right.
Jason Dickinson doesn't need to have a C on his sweater to be one of the leaders on this team.
Sure.
I mean, it basically just allows you to go talk to the refs. We know who the leaders are. Brent Seabrook never wore the C in his life, but people will tell you in the locker room he was the captain.
That was the guy who was in charge. Yep.
So when you have a team full of guys that all want to take on leadership roles, now Bedard is not the most vocal guy. He's getting there as the season goes, but he's a lead by example guy. You know, if the team captain can be out there shooting pucks for 45 minutes after practice, so can you.
Right.
And we see a lot of the young guys following
His lead.
that route.
I think a lot of that is they don't want to talk to us, but whatever gets the job done. If it's the
Either
fear
way.
of talking to us or the fear of disappointing Connor Bedard, it's doing it. So if you think Connor Bedard is your captain for the end of his career, then just give him the C at this point. He'll grow into the role. You still have Nick Foligno to be the locker room leader. You still have Jason Dickinson to be the locker room leader. Seth Jones. You still have all those guys. I think who actually wears the C it's a little overrated. It doesn't necessarily mean it's the biggest leader on your team.
Yeah.
Yep.
Reven XL had a comment up a little bit. There you go. Not naming a captain to honor your retiring captain is dumb. They didn't name one because they didn't want to give it to a rookie captain. No, they didn't give it because they didn't want to name one immediately after Jonathan Toews.
Yeah.
They wanted to give that a year to kind of
And
stay
listen,
Vacant.
If
And
someone
they might do it next year too.
And if someone was wearing a C this year, guess what? They'd still be bad.
Right.
It'd still be bad. Like it's a nice honor. It's a great honor for hockey. You know, I understand the importance of it, but in the end, you know, it's not as big as a deal as people make it out to be. And if Bedard's your guy, then make him your guy.
Yeah, I got no problem with it.
If you want it to be Foligno, give it to Foligno. This is something I'm not going to lose a wink of sleep over in the offseason because in the end, you know who the leadership core is, regardless of who's got a C or who's got an A.
Right. By the way, I want to remind people, a lot of people saying Patrick Kane was better than Jonathan Toews. Patrick Kane was better longer than Jonathan Toews. Jonathan Toews at his peak was maybe the best player in hockey.
And there was a huge reason Patrick Kane didn't get a letter on his sweater during those cup years.
Yeah. Like Jonathan
big
Toews
time
was,
reason.
but I mean, he was there. I remember maybe it was 2010, 2011. There was like one of those league surveys they do every year. And it said if you could have one player to start your franchise, would it be Toews or Crosby? And Toews got the majority of those votes.
Yeah, I mean, Toews never had the offensive numbers that Patrick Kane did, but Toews did everything on the ice.
Yes.
Yeah.
Patrick Kane was
And his numbers were decent too.
the Patrick Kane was the best offensive player on the team. Jonathan Toews was the best player on the all-around player. He did it all.
People are letting
people forget.
recency bias is skewing people's vision of how great Jonathan Toews was.
Yes, and I 100% agreed with let's give it a year to breathe. There's no rush to, honor. I don't know if saying honoring Jonathan Toews, but there was no rush to do it. I agree with that.
It's a respect factor.
Yeah, and plus the fact that technically he hadn't retired. Maybe that had a factor to do with it. I mean, I don't, I don't have a problem with that decision on it. And Fancy Top saying Kane's still doing it though. Sure, he's still putting up big numbers, but if Toews' body hadn't betrayed him, he'd probably be doing a lot of the same things too.
Yeah.
And he played a lot harder minutes than Patrick Kane did during those. There's a much bigger difference than going to war every night with a Ryan Kessler and a Patrice Bergeron and
Kopitar.
and all those guys than skating around skating around the perimeter all night. There's a big difference on what that does to your long-term wear and tear.
No doubt. Region Rev, by the way, made a good point saying what can't be both ways. It's either an honor or it's not a big deal, which is, I get what you're saying, and I think there it is. Yeah. Region Rev says, no, they don't need it, but it can't be both ways. It can't be an honor, but no big deal. Do you think captain would have helped those closed locker rooms? So Region Rev's talked about this a lot this year, and she's with us every show, so I want to know, I don't think a fabric C on Nick Foligno's chest was going to make him lead the locker room in a more effective way than he did with an A, or Jason Dickinson, or whatever.
Right.
But I do think the team itself, the decision makers, Jamie Faulkner, Danny Wirtz, Kyle Davidson to a lesser extent, do see that as they have to look at it like from a business standpoint too. And look, no one's gonna be mad if Connor Bedard's named the center or the captain for sure. Like, of course not. But I do think they are sensitive to, hey, let's remember how important this guy was to the franchise and what it could mean if we give this honor to somebody else. I'm not saying they won't, but they're sensitive to it, and I'm certain they're thinking about it when they make that decision.
Yeah.
That's all.
That's it.
Yeah.
By the way, I did do a poll on the YouTube and of whether you'd like to see the C on Bedard next season or not. It's very, very 50-50 right now.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's surprising. I thought it would be
At the
very, very
yeah.
much in Bedard's favor.
At the beginning of this year, I think there was a big consensus that it was just it's his for next season. But yeah, I mean, it evolves.
All right, we got another super. This is from Thomas Salata.
All right.
$4.99. Thank you, Thomas. Hey, guys. Do you think Korchinski will take number 14 now that it's available, or does Nazar keep 91?
No idea.
If Korchinski
idea.
changes from 55 to 14, that's dumb.
What am I missing? Why wasn't 14 available?
Boris
Boris.
Kachuk.
Oh,
Blackhawks
yeah.
legend Boris
I've
Kachuk.
already forgotten Boris Kachuk.
Yeah, Boris
My
Kachuk
bad.
was here.
How
No.
could you?
They've
Well-
sold jerseys with the 55.
Well, yeah, I mean, you
And it
can
looks
you,
so
you,
cool
can, you
out
can
there.
sell jerseys of different numbers. It's fine.
Yeah, I had a 53.
Yeah, I mean, he
going.
wore 14 in Seattle, but he also wore, I think it was 25 with Canada. He wore 55 here.
Such a good number.
It's
Stick
and,
with it.
and talk to some of the young guys this year at prospect camp and everything early in training camp about numbers. They don't really care.
Most of them don't.
Most of them don't really care. Korchinski, maybe he's a guy that flips it, but he might keep 55. Nazar might keep 91.
That's a cool number, too.
I love
yeah.
91. Great number.
What's
What's Stamkos, my friend?
Yeah, that's the only
Someone
problem.
made a joke about
When they
that in the
signed
chat a
Steven
while ago.
Stamkos.
Hey, then you get Steven Stamkos to buy you Chipotle all year for 91 because you know Frank Nazar loves his Chipotle. He's got
Team USA
92
sponsor.
looks good too, by the way.
Yeah,
You got to keep that when they reacquire Alex Nylander.
yeah. I mean,
God.
I don't know. Hey, he's got more goals than half the team does right now, and he
That's true.
played.
Can you share your Frank Nazar Kirby Doc stat you shared last night on Twitter for those that missed it?
Yeah, it's been all over the place, and I wasn't. I'm going to preface this like the stat wasn't to like poke fun at somebody, wasn't to declare a trade being victorious. It was just stating a fact that if Frank Nazar plays these last two home games or last two road games,
yeah.
knock on wood, which
he is
certainly
expected
looks
to.
like it, he will then have played one more game in the NHL this season than Kirby Doc.
Yes.
Yes, and the reason I
That is
compared those
a
two is because
statistical fact.
Frank Nazar was drafted with the pick that they got for Kirby Doc.
Yes.
Yes, Kirby
One of
Doc
the two picks.
got injured in that second game of the season against the Blackhawks and hasn't played since. So I don't think many people would have predicted before this year started that Frank Nazar will have more games in the NHL than Kirby Doc.
I don't think so.
Not declaring that a win, not making fun of Kirby Doc, just stating a bizarre fact.
Yes.
That's correct. All right, do we want to do one more?
Yeah, we could. We could go as long as we want here, but
Let's do one more.
You know,
Yeah,
we
do
kind of
one
mentioned
more?
the name a minute ago. So Drew Mazzano asked,
number
with
one more.
Nazar in the fold, what number do you think Stamkos will wear next season after signing as a?
Unretire number 9.
There you go. That'll
Sure.
go over well. As Greg says, like a fart in church.
Yeah, I'll go over what. No, I'm not going to. I'll save that comment for off the air. I'm not going to say that.
Well, he could flip it. Wear 19.
Yeah, that's technically not retired.
Yeah,
yet.
that's not retired yet.
Hey.
And you know what? He could wear 19, and they can make Stamkos the captain. How about that?
Look at that.
Yeah,
People
there
just
you go.
trade just take the
Just
name
change your
plates off
nameplates.
their- Yeah, you go.
There.
I
There's
think
a- there's a
Stamkos would look good
strategy.
in number 90.
Tyler
What did he wear
Johnson's old
for?
number?
Did he wear any different numbers for Team Canada? I don't remember.
Not that I know of offhand.
He seems like a number 8 to me. I don't know why.
Number
How
8.
about, how about 0-1?
Take Ryan
That's
Donato's
taken.
number.
Number 01.
0-1
There you
or
go.
0-9.
01.
I just don't like these
61?
I don't like anyone
Double
else in
zero.
the 90s with Bedard on the ice. It's just
Give him
bothers
number
me.
69.
No, all the young kids should be the 90s. You got 91 with
All right.
Nazar, 98 with Bedard. Moore should be like 90.
You got to keep 97 open.
97's, we're saving that for McDavid when he's here in a couple years. So, yeah, we should have number 90 through 98.
96 is a good number. It always makes me think of Adam Banks.
I see him as he's
Or no, was
91 on
Banks
Team
99?
Canada.
I think Banks wore 99.
I don't even know who Adam Banks is.
Conway was 96. I'm sorry. Charlie Conway was 96.
You ass.
Adam Banks is 99. Prick.
Stamkos did wear 17 for Canada.
Well, he
it
can't
looks
wear
like
that either.
in World Juniors.
Can't
wear
wear
that
17.
either.
Yeah.
You
I'll
can
have to figure it
wear
out.
10, right?
No. They didn't give Corey Perry 10.
Yeah, well, Steven Stamkos is not Corey Perry.
Confirmed.
Just saying. They didn't give Corey Perry 10.
Good thing they didn't.
Yeah, that's true.
Steven's 9 plus 1 is 10. Give him 10.
There you go.
I think fans.
That's
I think
math.
61.
I think Blackhawk
Flip
fans.
that 9. 61.
61 is a good number.
71?
I can't have that either. Taylor Hall.
Oh, math. and
That's true.
numbers.
Yeah, Taylor Hall. Yep.
It's a problem we'll have to sort out July 1st.
Yeah.
It's a shame.
I guess we'll just.
We'll figure it out over.
I have a feeling we won't have to worry about that.
All right. We
Yeah.
are going to be back tomorrow night, pregame and postgame.
It's a late one.
Late night hockey
Late
for you. Woo.
Get your coffee.
Not
Or
me.
your Coors
Sorry,
Light.
guys. I won't be here for that. I'll be doing the Cubs late night.
Fun.
Yeah, they're on the West Coast.
All right.
8:30
least we'll have some
pregame
company.
tomorrow. Hawks and Golden Knights, rather.
Yes.
And then our final postgame will be Thursday. Pregame at 9, Hawks and Kings.
Oh, I'll be here
And
for
I have a
that.
feeling we'll wrap up the mailbag on Wednesday.
That's right. Poof. All right. Well, if you're a Discord diehard, keep an eye out. I'm going to do that right when we're done with the show here, if it's ready, that bracket challenge. So keep an eye out for that. And if you want to become a diehard just in time for the bracket challenge, go to allchgo.com. You won't just get access to our bracket challenge. You'll get access to our great written content like the Rebuild Report, my Blackhawks Beat, all the great locked written content from all of our staff here at CHGO. You get a free shirt or hat upon sign up, or $35 off a hoodie, whichever you prefer. 20% off all of our events, 20% off all of our merch in the CHGO locker, and when you renew your membership every year, you get another free t-shirt. So stock up, make your drawers look like mine, where it is 90% CHGO stuff. It really, really is. So
Your dresser drawers.
yes, not my under drawers. Allchgo.com is the way to become a diehard. We'd love to see you. And reminder, Monday at 6, we're going to be at the Barn Hockey Bar watching playoff hockey.
Yes.
So come hang out with us. We're just
good hockey for a
no
change.
tickets needed. We're just hanging out, watching hockey with our friends, and everyone's invited. Come on out to the barn right there in Ogden between Adams and Monroe, right by the United Center. It's going to be a great time, great food. Coors Light will be flowing as always. So come join us Monday starting at 6, but we'll stick around for a handful of games, so we'll be there late. So you don't have to be there right at the start. Just trickle in, come say hi, come drink a few Coors Lights with us. We'd love to see you there. All right, we'll talk to you tomorrow, 8:30 pregame on the CHGO Blackhawks podcast.
We all silly like the mayor.